welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season. And I am delighted to say that we are joined this evening by Alex Walmsley, celebrating 10 years as a Saint. How are you, Al?
Yeah, good evening. I'm good, thanks. Quite daunted by the fact I've been at the club 10 years, to be honest. But just really looking forward to the year and whatnot.
So obviously it's your testimonial year, a decade at the club. Big plans, hopefully, COVID restrictions allowing.
Yeah, all being well. It's been a funny few years, to be honest. And obviously Louis and Tommy had well-deserved testimonials over the last couple of years, which were heavily disrupted. And unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast at the minute. But yeah, I've got lots planned, lot in store. We just hopefully want to get the game out of the way first, and have a good night Friday night. But plenty to look forward to in the year.
So obviously, as we're speaking about Friday evening, Leigh Centurions coming to the Totally Wicked Stadium this Friday evening, providing the opposition for your testimonial game. Real chance for a good first hit out of the year ahead of the new season.
Yeah, I think that was always important when it comes to selecting, an opposition. Was we wanted a good game. Gone are the days of having 3 or 4 pre-season friendlies, going into a season. So, we're only having one hit out this year, and Leigh were, considering the climate we're in at the minute, going back to COVID, I'm really grateful for Leigh for agreeing to take part in the game and coming over and testing as well. It's going to be a tough game. We saw last year in Tommy's testimonial match that they'll be ready for a tough game. I think obviously their season starts before ours, so they'll be later in their pre-season. So it's going to be a real test, and we're looking forward to that challenge. It's all well and good training all year, all pre-season, and feeling good in the gym and out on the training field, but until you go out and test yourself against a proper opposition, it's it'll give us a real good indicator of where we are as a squad.
I know a lot of the fans at the end of last season wanted to have a little bit of a homecoming after winning the grand final. Obviously, a lot of the players get away straight at the season's end, so this will be the first chance to get back in the ground and just to show their appreciation for the trophy wins last season.
Yeah, I think with the international game as well last year, it was we wanted to do a homecoming similar to the Challenge Cup. I think we all know how memorable that open top bus journey was for the town. It was an unbelievable day, and would love to have done it for the grand final, especially after knocking up 3 in a row. It would have been great, but it was just what meant to be, and obviously this is the first opportunity now to kind of welcome us back after what we've achieved. I think what we have achieved as a squad over the last few seasons, I don't want to understate, because it's tough to win one grand final. So to win 3 on a bounce and keeping that hunger and desire and level of performance to make sure we've got back to back, it's a real testament to the team, and I hope everyone sort of appreciates us for what we've done, which I'm sure we do. The fans have unbelievable, and come to there was only the Saints fans in Old Trafford and around the country who wanted us to win, and there was loud, and thankfully we got their job done for them, because let's be honest, everyone else in the world wanted us to lose.
It feels like such a long time, this off season, since that win in October. How's it been for you? Are you looking forward to getting back out there?
Yeah, it's been great. I think I've said it a couple of times recently in interviews, is that it's the best I've felt in a long time. I think, considering normally we'll have had a big international campaign at the end of every season, and obviously the first one got put to bed, the tri-series against Australia, the Ashes, because of COVID, and then the World Cup got postponed last year, and albeit we had the France game, it was just a one-off. So the body feels as good as it's done, I'd say, for 5-6 years, which I'm really looking forward to it because it's allowed me to have a real good pre-season. It's allowed me to have 2 good pre-seasons off the back of last year. I know I had the surgery on my knee last year, but I feel I've thankfully remained fit and healthy and allowed me to put some good games in this pre-season. And like I said before, though, you don't really truly know where you are as a player until you're out playing. And this game will give us a really good indicator, and hopefully we'll back up what we've been doing in training.
And just before I hand over to Kev, your testimonial jersey was shown off for the first time this week. You'll be obviously wearing it in the warm-up before Friday's game. Is there any meaning behind the design on the front of the shirt?
Yeah, it's a funny one. It's been one of those where people either get it straight away or are left scratching their head. So it's been a bit of a 50-50 split, but it's supposed to be a replica of my beard on the front. The guys at O'Neill's, and Neil, who's been doing a lot for my brochure and design, come up with the kit design, and it really stood out. And being a big boring Yorkshire man, it was quite hard to get something on a jersey to kind of individualise it for me. So they come up with a beard, and I mean, I love it. We've got the Great Britain emblem on the front as well. Obviously, I was really proud to play for Great Britain, and it's been a bit of a 50-50 split, I think, though, when it comes to figuring it out. But I'm really happy with the jersey, and hopefully, all the fans like it.
But it's still got a very recognisable red V on there, Alex. So I'm sure fans will like it. Anything white with a red V goes down well in this town, anyway.
Well, that was that was the plan anyway. To as long as we got some sort of red V there, it'd go okay. And we'll see anyway. See if there's any boos on Friday.
I doubt that, mate. So talking about the club as a whole, Alex, before we get back onto yourself, you talk about us winning 3 in a row, going back to back. 4 in a row would be just an unbelievable thing to do, especially in a salary cap sport where you lose players like the likes of Theo Farge, Lachlan Coote over the off season. Is it realistic to think that Saints can do that this season and go 4 in a row?
Yeah. Honestly, I genuinely believe that as well, and it won't be easy. I think this will be the toughest out of the potential 4 to win. I think in losing the players we've lost, we've not just lost key players, we've lost real key personnel as well, real big personalities to the group, and but one thing I will say is I think the off season and the transfer business, what the club's brought in, and the recruitment we've done this year it's as good as I can remember, and all the boys who we've brought in are real quality players, and I'm really excited to play alongside them because the real tough players to replace, but to bring in the likes of Curtis Sirinen and Joey and Hopper, and Conrad and Belly, genuinely they're all quality players, and I think we'll be better for them. And another pre-season under the likes of Jack Welsby and Lewis Dodd, who, in my opinion, are the next superstars of the game. If not, they already are the superstars. So I'm real confident we're going to have another good season. Albeit every other club sort of does their transfer business and recruits players, and they'll be a little bit wiser and better as well. So it's the challenge is always trying to keep ahead of the pack, and that's what we've been talking about and we're going to be aiming to do. But I genuinely don't see why not. It's all the ingredients are there for another successful season, and it's probably down to us as players to make sure we get the job done.
Alex, you talk about the players we've brought in. Obviously, you've had offers to move away from the club throughout your time here. What is it about Saints that makes it able to retain its best players and obviously attract those in? Obviously, the trophies help, but there's got to be more to it than that.
I've been asked it a lot of times recently as well. It's hard to just put your finger on it, but it's the whole organisation and as a whole. I think, especially these last few years, what we've created, and a lot of it's down to the playing squad as well. What we've sort of created in the dressing room, but where we wanted to go as a team and a club, we've all bought into, and it's not just myself, the likes of Tommy Makinson and Johnny Lomax and James Roberts been here for forever and a day. I know, there's no coincidence why people want to let this club and team want to stay here, and a lot of it's down to the town as well, and the supporters. I think to only have rugby league in the town, nothing else, is a big. Obviously, we own the stadium now, and it's probably the best stadium in my opinion. It's one of them anyway in the Super League. So there's a lot of factors, but I think when you're happy, you're happy. And what I've always said, and I've said it a few times, is you can earn a few extra quid, and I'll never judge anyone who wants to go to the NRL and test himself. It's the elite competition. There's a financial gain. If you want to go to another club and become a marquee player, then end of the day, it's a short career, and you've got to do what's best for yourself and your family. But with me, it's always been, if I'm happy, what's a few extra quid. I don't want to sound sort of blasé by it, and just it's just it. But that's it would come down to I was happy where we live. I've got two young boys. I don't want to take them away from family and stuff. So it was always an easy decision in the end to stay, and all that comes down to the likes of Eamon and Rushy as well, who sort of back us and do what they do to make sure that they put as much investment as they can into the playing squad, and that's why we do keep as players, and we do recruit good big signings, and people want to come here and be successful. And what we've done over the last 3 years is we'll create jealousy throughout the Super League for the rest of the rest of the players in Super League, because it's been special, and thankfully we've had some unbelievable moments, and moments what you can't take for granted.
Alex, you took a bit of a different route to the top of the game. Obviously, you come through the amateur ranks. You played for Dewsbury Celtic before moving on to Batley. How did the move to Saints come about 10 years ago?
It was massively out of the blue, to be honest. It was such a massive shock. I think because I'd never done scholarship and I'd never done academy level. I even stopped playing at 15, 16 years old. It was, and I only got going again at under 18s because my team started up again. My team folded at 15, and I started playing again under 18s mainly because I was overweight and needed to start training again. It was just never, I was never good enough as a young kid, and I was definitely a late bloomer and a late developer. So, for me it was, all about playing at Dewsbury Celtic and initially at under 18s before playing, starting an open age team as was an under 18 sort of formed our own open age team at Dewsbury Celtic, and we played in the national conference. And for me, that was the bee's knees. Playing with my mates, enjoying the amateur game. And one thing I will say about the time at Dewsbury Celtic is, I've had some unbelievable moments in the professional game, and so many highs. But some of my fondest memories are playing for Dewsbury Celtic, whether that be at the back of a bus journey on a 3-4 hour coach from Hemel Hempsteads or Hemel Stags or from Cumbria or something like that. Some unbelievable memories and moments, and I absolutely loved it. And to get the opportunity to go to Bartley was come out of nowhere. I was all about going to college and university, and getting a degree and being a quantity surveyor. And the opportunity to go to Bartley was a massive surprise. To get a trial there and find myself playing for Bartley was a massive shock. But I thought when I got to Bartley, I thought I'd found my level, truth be told. And the championship, tough competition, and it still allowed me to play with some mates and things. But when St Helens come and give me an offer, for me it was a total surprise, especially being 22, turning 23 in the following year. It was. I very much felt that I'd missed the boat, and I think that's probably what you saw in my first few years at the club, is that I was definitely playing catch up in a large amount of areas in the game. So many basic parts of the game what sort of lads work at scholarship and academy and take for granted. Playing the ball comes to mind a little bit, and catching and passing, and honestly, it sounds weird, but real basic stuff was something I had to work really hard at. And but yeah, no, it was just unbelievable. John Keir literally come to me on a Thursday night at the back end of my year at Batley and said, "We're going over to St Helens tomorrow," and I signed on the following Monday. It was as quick and as easy as that, because it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm so grateful for the club for giving me the opportunity, because it's changed my life and given me so many unbelievable memories and moments. And that journey over the M62 over the Pennines with John Keir was definitely a journey worthwhile. And yeah, the rest is history, so to speak.
You mentioned John Keir there. John Keir came out with my favourite quote about you, which was, "Tackling Alex Walmsley is like tackling scaffolding that's been fired out of a cannon." Just thought that was an absolutely wonderful way of putting it, and I certainly wouldn't like to do both. When you're travelling over the M62, you sign on the dotted line, as you say, on the Monday. Did you ever think you'd still be here 10 years later and achieve everything you have in the Redvee?
No, and again, it's been so surreal. I think, like, when I signed for Batley, and like, I only went to Batley on trial to begin with, and there was sort of, initially it was, well, if you play half a dozen games, you've done well, stepping up into the professional game, and it was the same when it comes to St Helens. It was, if you play 4 or 5 games this year, then you've done really well here, and I was very much, down the pecking order when I first arrived, and that was for me. And I thought, well, if I play a few games Super League, and there's always been this sort of niggle in the back of my mind, is that I'll end up getting found out, and I'll be back at Dewsbury Celtic at Cronus Park, and back amongst my mates and playing in front of a couple hundred people, and that was very much in my mind for my first couple of seasons at Saints. And to find myself sort of playing pretty much week in, week out from the get-go was a massive surprise, and I think it took us all by surprise, not just myself, probably everyone at the club and all the coaches and everyone else. It was a shock, but it's been great, and I'm really proud of the journey I've been on, and it's quite unique, and I feel it's been a tough journey, but it's something what's thankfully worked out really well. And I'm sitting here now going into my 10th year, and it's I still find myself pinching myself. I genuinely really do.
If you could give yourself one bit of advice on that Monday that you sign, that you could go back now and give yourself one bit of advice, what would it be?
Negotiate the contract. Negotiate the salary.
Good answer.
No.
Good answer.
Do you mean John Keir wasn't the greatest agent for you on the deck?
No, it's funny, and I've said it a few times. I could have put anything in front of me and signed it. And I think, because I was actually the week before, sorry, the week after I actually signed, or the week before I signed, sorry, I was supposed to start as a quantity surveyor. I had a job lined up as a QS, and I had a few bigger offers in the Championship and things like that to stay around. And but yeah, no, I joke. I think that bit of business is probably the best and worst bit of business I've probably ever done in terms of the salary. But you only get these opportunities once, and one thing the club have done is they've paid me okay in the end, and I like to think it was a good bit of business for us both initially. So, but all jokes aside, it's I don't know. I think maybe not appreciate more. I think try and enjoy it a bit more, because the stresses and sort of tribulations that come with being a full-time professional athlete, and the expectations that, especially at a club as big as ours, is quite enormous. So you do sort of put yourself under a lot of personal pressures and criticism. So I'd probably tell myself to enjoy it and just relax a bit, because it'll all work out in the end.
That's it. In that debut season, I'm glad you said it about that. Some of the things you learn very quickly about professional rugby, because from the stands, could see you at times taking lungfuls of air in, What memories do you have from that debut season?
Gasping for air. It's definitely one of them. No, I can remember my debut, and I think I can remember my debut and then sort of getting this opportunity, and I wanted to do everything. I thought, I want to fly off the line, I want to smash everyone, I want to carry 10 times in 10 sets, I want to do everything. And I remember coming on, and I think I carried about 5 times in the first 3 sets, and I'd done 10 tackles, flying out the line, trying to kill everyone. And I looked up at the time, and I think I'd been on the pitch 3 minutes, and there was like 12 minutes after half time, and I was absolutely gone. I was absolutely gone. But that comes with a smile. I was keen, I was young, and yeah, I think the first year was very much a bit of just probably learning the game. The game's so different. I think I've always been, my game's based around my carry. There's no hiding that. That's what I do and what I do best. So
you've won 4 grand finals now, 2014, 19, 20 and 21. Which has been the most satisfying?
Oh, do you know, it's a strange one, really. I think obviously 14 was great because considering the squad we had out at the time of the night and losing Lance in the first minute, it's all well and good saying you're playing against 12 men, but we had one half back and he got knocked out in the first 90 seconds of the game. So, to come out with a victory. But I always feel 14, although I played quite a lot in that game. It was when we were coming off the bench and being sort of on in my second year. It was very much about some of the older players. It was about Paul Wallens and James Roby and lads who were agonising. He had those five losses, and it was more for them. And so I was really proud. But 2020 was unbelievable, and such a special night, and not just for the way it ended. I think the whole year and what we committed to as a squad and the sacrifices we all made to make that final, and little things like Jammer coming back and being a part of the night for Jammer, and seeing him win the grand final after the losses what he had as well. It was a real special night, and it's a strange one, really, because if the fans would have been there, it'd have been unbelievable and it'd have been amazing. And you can only imagine what the atmosphere would have been like. But that being said, I think with being behind closed doors, it felt real personal. And even though all the fans was backing us and watching us through, it was a strange feeling and something I'll never forget. And you're going mental on the pitch, and there's no one else going mental. It was, which normally there would be, but it was a real sort of intimate moment as us as a squad going back into the change rooms, where little things like none of our families were there, and even though we'd love our families to have been there because they follow us through it all and ride the roller coaster, we're like we do as players. But it was just about sort of a squad of 25 lads and 30 lads and some coaching staff in a change room and enjoying an unbelievable win. So that will always stick in my mind, and for like I said, for great reasons, for the way it won, but also showing the sacrifices and being behind closed doors and yeah, you will never forget that night as a player and normal fans for the moment, and especially with Sir Jack Welsby being rightly knighted as a knight of the St Helens round table.
If you could pick one performance from your career as your highlight reel, what would it be?
Performance. I think I finished the season pretty well last year. I had some nice sort of games at the back end of the season against Leeds, which sort of stick in my mind. But I think the game what I always think about and I always feel changed me or give me the confidence to sort of believe I was going to be a St Helens and a Super League player was the 2013 Good Friday game against Wigan. And it's a strange one because we lost that game, but obviously I've been playing right up until the Good Friday game because of injuries, but everyone was back for that game, and Brownie still picked me, and that to get that confidence of your coach picking me, because I was expected to be sort of back on the sideline then and back at Batley Geo Reg, and I was waiting for another opportunity. So for Brownie to pick me and for me to play pretty well in my first Good Friday in front of a big crowd was a real moment what always sticks in my mind and always gives me that first time. So I had that confidence of thinking, well, I might actually be able to have a go at this, and I'm not just an imposter faking it. I could actually go out and have a career, and thankfully it's been okay since.
So Alex, just going back to that 2020 grand final, what did you say to Chris Kendall when the Jack Welsby try went up to the video ref?
Can I swear on this?
Yes. Louis did.
Well, Louis swears at anything. It was basically on the lines of, have you effing give it? To which, actually, no, I said, because I knew it, I went, what's it going up as? And he was like, well, it's gone up, has it gone up as a try? I went, yeah, it's gone up as a try. I said, you've got to give it. He said, he's got to give it. So, well, it's out of my hands now. But I can remember there was Tommy Lulawai around him, and Lockers was sort of in his ear saying, he's pushed him, he's done this, he's done that. I was like, so no, I'll be quiet. And a few other things. But yeah, that was pretty much what. But I couldn't celebrate it. I couldn't celebrate the try until I'd seen it on the screen, because I actually didn't see him put it down. So when Tommy hits a drop goal, I'm sort of blocking the markers. So I get a real good view of the ball, and I'm thinking, he's nailed this. He's got this. And Tommy's running off like how he run off in the 2019 final. He's figuring his So I'm running after him, thinking he's hit it so sweet. And I jump on Tommy, and Tommy went, get the fuck off me. I've missed. So I turned around, and then I sort of see Jack around the goal area, and then Bentos going mental, and everyone running towards him. And so I didn't quite see what I'd sort of seen him put it down, but I didn't see anything before it. And so they was going mental, and I just ran to them. I thought, I'm not celebrating. I'm not going to jinx this. I thought, just in case we've got another 10 minutes of extra time, we can't lose his head here. So, but yeah, as soon as I watched it back on the screen and seen him put it down, I just joined straight in. But it was it felt a long time watching that video there. It really did, especially the first sort of the initial bit, because I was checking the offside. It felt hours, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
Which was most satisfying out of that 2020 grand final and winning the Challenge Cup this last year?
There's so much relief in the 2021 in the Challenge Cup. I don't know. It was not that it was hard to enjoy. It was unbelievable, but there was so much. It was relief. We'd been chasing it for so long. We'd come so close a couple of years before, and missed out on so many semis and stuff. So it was just a relief of finally kind of doing it. So I think I'll probably stick with the 2020 grand final, only by a whisker. They were both unbelievable moments.
That's it. You've now won everything there is to win in the domestic game. What else would you like to achieve in your career?
I'd love another crack at the Aussies. I think the World Club Challenge would be nice. The way we played against Sydney the last time, if we'd have took his chances, I genuinely feel we would have won that game. I think we was arguably probably the better team of the night. One thing we didn't do what they did was we didn't take our chances, and they took every single one of theirs. And ultimately, that was the difference between us and them. And so I love another go at the World Club Challenge. I think it's a shame it couldn't happen this year, but I don't think realistically it was ever going to happen. So hopefully they'll get back on board with that, and we can have another go. I think before that would give out a couple of real poor showings of ourselves. So that sticks in my mind. And to win something international would be nice as well. I know we've come close in the World Cup, but obviously the GB tour was obviously disappointing from a results side of it. So to have a good to win something international would be nice. I think that they're the two what I'd love to kind of tick. What I haven't done yet.
And you're only 31 now. This next contract takes you up to the end of 2024. Do you ever look past the end of like this contract and plan for beyond it, or are you just going to see how the body feels when you get towards 2024 and make a decision on your future then?
I think if you'd have asked me this question a couple of years ago, I'd have been sort of planning for the next step. But I think the way I feel now, I think how the body's recovered over the last couple of seasons and the pre-seasons I've been able to have and get the meters under the belt. I'd hate to put a time limit on it because the way I feel, I like to feel like I could get 5-6 more years. That being said, I'll see where we are in a couple of seasons. A lot could happen between now and touch wood. I sort of stay away from any more nasty ones, and I can let the body keep itself ticking over. But it takes no prisoners, this game, and eventually it'll catch up with you. And we'll see how I am. One thing I've always been adamant about though is that I'm going to make sure when I'm playing, I'm still playing to a standard of what I think is acceptable, and I want to make sure I'm contributing to the team and to the club and giving it my all. And if I'm only 50% fit, then obviously I can't do that. So we'll see how the body is. But as it stands and the way I feel and the way I'm performing, I'd like to feel like I've still got a few seasons yet, and I'd like to think I'll stay beyond 2024.
Do you know what? I sometimes think, I know that maybe not for yourself, but it's a couple of years since obviously you had that neck injury. It's absolutely incredible to see where you've come back to and arguably become a much better player post-injury.
Yeah, it was a scary time. It really was. I think that was always the biggest hurdle, was the mental side of it. I think when you've told you broke your neck and the sort of stigma what comes with those injuries, and unfortunately we all need to see how Moss has sort of been these last couple of seasons, how delicate the area is. It's quite a daunting task, and it was the mental side. It was a massive hurdle, and physically, thankfully, was apart from a little bit of nerve damage to my left arm, it's I've not been hampered too much apart from a little bit of neck range. I'm happy I'm 6'5" and I don't need to look up anymore because I can't tilt my head back that far anymore. But it was definitely the mental side of it which was the toughest, and it still kind of plays on my mind now a little bit. And I've got to sort of give myself a reality check at times and sort of check myself in, because it was a tough time. And thankfully to have so many people supporting me through that injury, not just at the club, but my family and having my boys. It was I definitely feel lucky to be here now as back playing again. It was, again, at the time though, one thing I always said and wanted was, if I was to come back playing, then I didn't want to be sort of pulling out of tackles or drives or taking the ball in, because that's what my game's about. And if I can't do those kind of things to what I was expected of before the injury, then there was no way I could continue after. Thankfully, it's when you're in the middle and you're 116 kilos and you're too tired to think about anything else, it's probably a bit of a godsend that you are in the middle of the field and you don't get time to dwell on it too much when you're on the pitch.
So when you do hang up your boots, do you want to stay in the game, or is a life of quantity surveying your future? Do you think you'll stay this side, or will you be going back to Yorkshire? What's in the plans for the Walmsley family?
I don't know. I don't think I'll go into quantity surveying. I think I'd struggle to go from this environment back into that. But that being said, I'd love to stay in the game in some capacity if the opportunity is there, but I don't feel like that's necessarily my destiny. I think coming from the outside into the game and coming into the game as late as I did, I feel I'm quite lucky that I've had a bit of a glimpse of the real world, so to speak, and I can easily find myself filtering back into life outside of rugby. It's not something I'm necessarily afraid of, retirement. It's something when I like to feel I'm a little bit older, I like to look forward to as well, and I look forward to that next journey. But I don't know. It's so up in the air in a minute. I think we'll probably stay on this side of the Pennines. My little boy started school and things, and we've got a good network around here. At once I thought I would definitely go back to Yorkshire, but I think we've been over here that long now. We'll probably stay this side of the Pennines, and we'll see what's made for me.
You've seen the light.
I'm not sure about
that. That's the end of the long form questions. I think just before we finish, we've got some quickfire questions. And you got rinsed last year by Tommy Makinson on these.
Yeah, I know.
Just to give you a heads up before you answer them, just so you can think of them in your answers. So the first question then, best trainer at the club?
Best trainer, Johnny Lomax. I think he's I say best trainer. He does the most training. He's the most committed. He does the most pre-ab. He does everything. For some people, doing as much as what Johnny does wouldn't be beneficial, but Johnny needs that for himself and to get him through to what he needs to do. But he's a quality player, and I think for what he does on the training pitch, sort of echoes why he does what he does on the field.
Who's your cleverest teammate, Alex?
It's definitely not Percy. If you ask me who's not the cleverest person, then I'll save that. I'll save Percy for that one then. Cleverest, I don't know. We've got a few. Actually, yes, I do know. Young Sam Royal. He's a genius. He's at uni doing biochemistry, I think, on the side of playing, and he's done stuff on. It's quite topic related because he's done stuff on vaccines and how to make vaccines, and he's a bit of a wizard. Yeah, Sam Royal is. He's quite He's one of those. He'll probably be a serial killer as well. He's really quiet, but he's quiet but really intelligent, good player. So.
Tommy said Sam Royal was the cleverest at the club, but he said you thought you were.
I'm full of useless stuff, to be honest. I'm one of them who knows a lot about things which won't benefit myself or anyone else around me. I'm one of those kind of people. So I'm clever in all the wrong ways.
See, my next question was, who's not the brightest? But I think you've answered that one.
Yeah. I say, do you know what? I'll give him credit. He's got a lot better actually as he's got older, and I think he genuinely has. A lot of things. I can remember stuff like him. I'm trying putting some metal in the microwave the other day or the other week. Last year, so we warm up his dinner. It was just sometimes it's got to put I put yarn around him. But yeah. He's got a lot better, to be fair to him. We haven't got. Do you know what? I think this next generation, I worry for him. Because they don't know how to talk or anything. I genuinely worry for the next generation. So there's actually a few of the young boys who'll sort of follow Percy's footsteps.
So by the time we get to Jack Welsby's testimonial year and we ask this question, Mark Pearce will be a functioning human being.
I don't think he'll be functioning, but he'll get by. He gets by now. Thankfully he's got married as Mark, so, and he's married to a real smart girl, so she'll do. I'm sure she'll have to look after him a little bit. She'll bring him along.
Okay, so who's the toughest player at the club?
Toughest. I don't know. people dress toughness up in different ways, and for me, for us as a team, we recognise toughness not as maybe a physical sort of fighting point of view. It's when shit hits a fan and it comes to crunch, are you going to turn up? And we've got a few people like that. You know, Morgan Knowles springs to mind now. He'll 79 minutes into the game, he'll chase back and he'll whack someone. Or you know, Matty Lees is the same. We've got some real young, tough lads who sort of who are truly tough in the sense of they'll no matter what situation is, they'll always turn up. James Roby again. You know, no one can do 60 tackles at a game like Bob does without being tough. So we've got a few tough lads, but I'd put it down to Morgs or Robes.
Okay, who's your best mate at the club?
For all the wrong reasons, maybe Louis. You know, he sort of took me under the wing when I first come to the club a little bit, for whether for better or worse, I'm not sure. But he's just a good guy. He's a good guy. We've got so many good people at the club. You know, Tom is a great mate of mine as well, and Percy, and you know, Johnny, and you know, lads who have played with now for a long time. So, but yeah, I think if I needed an hand, I'd probably give Louis a shout. He might not answer, but I'll ring him first.
What's your favourite stadium to play at?
Apart from home.
Apart from home, yeah.
Headingley. It's a great atmosphere in Headingley. I think because I played a little bit of there at Leeds Met, and I was, you know, unfortunately I was a Leeds Rhinos fan growing up, and the season ticket holder used to, you know, go quite a bit, and but they're always a team I love to beat now as well. Maybe for that reason. Yeah, going to Headingley and getting results is always nice. It's a great atmosphere, and good stadium, good pitch. Yeah, Headingley.
Yeah. What's the worst stadium to play at?
Yeah, probably it's Cass springs to mind because it's the sheds are so prehistoric. It's unreal. How they're allowed in elite sport, I'm not too sure, but the atmosphere is great there. It's strange because it's old school and the crowd's on you, and there's always a bit of animosity. So, I don't know. Again, Wake is a bit grim, but the fans are right there on top of you, and it's always a good atmosphere. So, I'd hate to actually single one out because as bad as some are for some reasons, it makes them special for others. So, yeah. But that being said, I won't like to play at Cass week in, week out.
Okay, and as a final question, who are the best and the worst dressed at the club?
I'd love to say Tommy because I know Tommy absolutely bagged me to bits, but you know, if I'm going to put my hand on my heart, I just can't do it. It's a strange one because I get recognised as being one of the worst dressed, I think. So I look at some of the gear what everyone else is knocking about right now, and it seemed like fashion, and lads who are spending £400-500 on a pair of trainers, and I just can't get my head around it. I genuinely can't get my head around it, and they look all right, but they look like a £50 pair of trainers to me, and you know, which is fine, but so it's a tough one. The Aussies always wear some weird stuff as well. The Aussies, they've got a weird sense. I don't know. It's hard. I think because if you asked everyone else in the club who it would be, they'd all be pointing at me. So I don't want to put myself up to get knocked down by singling someone out because they'll just come back at me and give it to me. So yeah, I'll just put myself forward. I'll surrender and admit that I'm the worst dressed.
Well, just before we finish, I'm on a personal crusade in 2022. And Al, you look like, as a big guy, you've probably got quite a large head. Can you put it to someone in the club to make larger bobble hats, please?
Every week.
Do you know what? I'll say I have got a big head. And if do you know what? If you've got time for a little story, I'll tell you a little story about size of heads. So when Atticus was born, he got, as you go through child, you know, the milestones, and they come out and do the measurements, and they actually measured Atticus's head, and I think about 9-month-old, he had the size of a head of a 6-year-old, something like that. It was ridiculous, and naturally there was really concerned because there's just this little baby with this massive head, and we had to go all the way to see a neurologist, and it was quite scary at the time. But ultimately the first thing the guy did was he measured my head and he measured Simone's head, and I know what it comes down to. We've just got a family full of big heads, so when it comes to hats and things like that, I feel and share your pain, and I'll do my best to sort it out, but I won't make any promises.
We were in the shop when the new kits launched, and I'm moaning about the bobble hats, and Rushy stood behind us as like some sort of secret shopper. Yes. Listen, I'm a lover of bobble hats, and I can't buy one from the club, so there's my crusade. Right. Alex, thanks for joining us. Hopefully a big year ahead for both yourself in your testimonial year and for the club as a whole. Hopefully there are plenty of events throughout the year. We will publicise them all for you on Redvee. So I think from me, I just want to wish you all the best, and I'm sure Kev wants to as well.
Yes, same, Alex. All the best for your testimonial year and for the year ahead, and let's hope that we can make it 4 in a row.
No, thanks, guys. I genuinely really appreciate the support, and looking forward to the year. And yeah, thanks again for the support from yourself and everyone at Redvee and the rest of the Saints fans. It genuinely makes you really appreciate being at a club and team like St Helens when you get the support from the likes of yourself and everyone else. So cheers, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be another year to remember.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow for another of our player updates and season updates as we begin to build to the new season. Catch you soon.